Morning, we're happy to welcome a Browns legend.
A longtime Browns kicker and punter Don Cockroft spent 13 seasons booming kicks at the old Municipal Stadium on the lakefront, and now he's an author and he has a new book out. It's the story of the Browns storybook season, the 1980 season. It's called The 1980 Cardiac Kids Are Untold Stories. Don, always a pleasure to talk to you, man. Welcome back to Fox 8, man.
Wayne, Christy, it's great to be
nice
with you.
to
It's
meet
real
you.
early in the morning, but
My gosh, I know. Thanks for getting up.
Well, it's ironic that we have you in today. The Browns have their seventh coach since 1999.
thank goodness they got a coach.
So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are just, once again, you know, I was with the Browns 13 years, and I'm now a fan, as every Cleveland Browns fan is, and frustrated and everything else. But my thoughts are, it's better, you know, you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
And right, wrong, or indifferent, the decision's made. Now you move ahead. You go forward with it. I personally don't know the coach that much or know that much about him, other than I know he's has a great heritage. His father's a winningest high school coach in Pennsylvania, and let's hope that passes down. And I think he will. I know his demeanor is more important right now to me than what we've seen in the past. I think he'll get in the face of these players.
Which is probably what they need.
Yeah.
When you consider, you know, the glory days of the 1980s, and you consider what's happening now with the Browns, as a former player and one who loves the Browns, what goes through your mind?
Same thing goes through everybody else's mind. It's just so frustrating. And what goes through my mind is, we went through the 70s, and we've struggled. You know, there were some really tough years, and then Coach Sam comes in, and things starting to turn. And then in '79 we started winning games, and 1980, of course, we won the division that year. Winning, like losing, becomes very habit forming. And what happened for us hasn't happened with the Browns recently.
What happened with you guys? What turned you on?
We won some of those games in the last minutes. Instead of, as what the Browns have done this year, they've lost them. And all of a sudden you believe, hey, we can win. And you ask anybody on our 1980 Cardiac Kids team, and they said, we knew if we were in it with 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes to go, we could win the ball game. And that's an attitude thing.
I know that the focus and the attention is on the new head coach, but, you know, obviously being a player yourself, the players are a huge deal as well. So not even talking about the coach, what do we need to do about getting some good players on the team?
Well, once again, they've got to select them. And again, do they have the ability? Do they have the right mentality to select those people? Let's hope so. You know,
well,
they've got some great
they
players.
have six pro players, but there's something else is missing. I don't know what. You know what? Let's talk about your book. Some of the untold stories. I mean, those are great times, man. I mean, those are, you know, Brian Sipe, you know, Ozzie Newsome, and those guys. Those were great years. Red Right '88. Everybody remembers that. Talk about some of those untold stories in your book.
Well, it's just basically the book itself. I've been out over a year and a half with it now, and people have received it greatly. I mean, especially Browns fans, because it's about that team and about that season. And I mean, I could be here for an hour, but for example, Ozzie Newsome,
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, and in talking to Ozzie, and I interviewed every player and coach, 140 hours of recorded interviews went into 4 years of making this book. But Ozzie, for example, said, Don, the thing about the 1980 Cardiac Kids was that it was the most unselfish team he'd been on in his entire athletic career. And Ozzie Newsome, Alabama, you know, he won everywhere he went.
And people who don't know, we called you guys the Cardiac Kids because you guys had you won in the last minute a lot of times.
Many times.
It was like, oh my goodness.
Cardiac arrest.
Cardiac arrest time for the
I think in 1980, of the 16 games that we've had, probably 12 of those games were decided in the last minute or two. Fortunately, we won most of them, but the 3 games we lost after we lost the first 2 games, the 3 games of the rest of the season, one was with 11 seconds left to go, they beat us. One was with no time left to go. So we either won or lost, and fortunately we won most of them.
Your favorite player from those years, your favorite teammate?
My favorite teammate, oh, that's tough. Actually, my favorite teammate was not on that team, was Reese Morrison. Reese was a running back behind Leroy Kelly. Most people never heard of him. Leroy Kelly,
Likely.
I had a